This episode of Fight Stories is brought to you by Absolute Nature CBD. Nature perfected, 100% natural CBD oil and CBD oil products for the mind, body, and your dick. Go to AbsoluteNatureCBD.com. Type in the promo code Goon Squad. Get an exclusive 20% Fight Stories discount. This is John Moses. Welcome to another episode of Fight Stories. Oh, Tyler Morrison is up in Toronto, just stockpiling great Fight Stories episodes. I mean, the man's excited. This episode, he sits down and talks with comedian Ron Josol, and he's got another young buck that he met at a show in Windsor that he decided to bring along for the ride. Max Sheldrick is also in studio, sort of hanging out. But most of the episode is Ron Josol. Ron is a longtime vet. I feel like he was at it for a while when I started 20 years ago. But, you know, at least 25 years he's been headlining around Canada and the United States. Very funny dude. What I didn't realize about Ron is that pretty tough dude. But not only like a tough guy, but knows how to fight. Like trained Jiu Jitsu back in the 90s before it was on everybody's tongue. And they were jiu-jitsu schools, Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools were popping up beside every dry cleaner in a strip mall. He was actually trained by the Gracies. So I'm thankful I didn't run into Ron back when I was drinking and I had a chip on my shoulder. Because I remember seeing Ron and him seeing me and him kind of giving me the look like, who the fuck is this guy looking at? Because I know I had that look on my face. And I'm just glad I didn't say, what the fuck are you looking at? Because he would have mopped the floor with me. Other things. This week, we are a part of the New York Comedy Festival at Showtime. This week, we are a part of the New York Comedy Festival, Sunday, November 10th at 7 p.m. at Old Man Hustle in Brooklyn, New York. I want to thank my buddy Ed Farrell for allowing us the opportunity to be a part of it. New York Comedy Festival wanted to include Old Man Hustle in the festival, and Ed wanted to include us, so thank you, Ed. Of course, we jumped at the bit. And Sergio Chacon, my good buddy Sergio, is also going to be on the episode. Real funny dude. Has been, you know, boxing and hanging out for the last 5 years. Sergio's a real funny guy. And we're gonna open it up to any Fight Stories people that show up that want to do a Fight Story. So, and who knows who else is going to pop in. Tickets are so cheap, it's ridiculous. It's only $5. Hit us up. Listen, if you can't afford the $5, throw us like $4.50 or something. All right? Here is the episode. Ron Josol.
Round one, fight!
Hey guys, this is Tyler. You're listening to another episode of Fight Stories. We have a very fun episode lined up today. Very excited. Longtime good friend and hilarious stand-up comedian Ron Josol is with us. How you doing, Ron?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, yeah. No, very good, man. I'm so happy that you're here. And we also have a wild card here. This kid, Max Sheldrick, out of Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah, buddy.
Comedian. He just did a show with me on Friday night and absolutely smoked the place. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. And
nice.
I knew that this guy's been in a couple scrapes. So I'm like, yeah, drop by. Let's hear what you got going on. So no, this is great. My co-host John Moses is in New Jersey right now, so we're just in Toronto getting a couple satellite episodes. So yeah, thanks so much for coming down and doing this. Basically, if you haven't heard it, we hang out and just shoot the shit, tell funny stories about fights that we've been in, fights we've seen. So, you know, sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're real, but it's always interesting. So
right.
Yeah, man. So yeah.
When was the last scrap you got into?
Last scrap I got into.
I was there. No,
it was a long time ago. Actually, I've been a good boy. I had to retire because you know. About 2 weeks after, if you're still feeling the effects, it's like, you know, you're walking with a limp. Probably like 2007, maybe. Yeah, in Toronto at Lee's Palace, I got into it was 2 fights within 10, 15 minutes of each other, two different guys.
Right.
And it went pretty good, but it was also, you even when you win, you feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or you don't because it's so fast, and then you're like, what? That was,
Yeah, I just meant after.
Punch,
I just meant afterwards, couple weeks, like I rolled my ankle in the one fight, and like I won the fight, but I'm like, did I really win the fight?
Yeah. I remember having a fight in my I went to Seneca College.
Yeah.
And I remember this is like I started Jiu Jitsu back in 92, and so I was there maybe till maybe 1990, maybe around 3 years. And then I went to my friend's. My friend was like, "Hey, he was a black belt in karate. It's called Northern Karate. That's
Okay.
at Leslie and 7.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, we have some black belts that heard that. I just told them that you trained with the Gracies for
Nice.
3-4 years. And they wanted to see how it was. They just wanted to do a spar. And so my brother and I went there, and the first guy was the guy Winton, and he's like a Japanese, I think it's Japanese or Korean. No, he's Japanese dude because he was a karate guy. So he goes, yeah, let's spar, and he kicks me in the face.
That's how he starts that's sparring.
And
Opening move?
Kicks me right in the face. I fall to my knees.
Shit.
And I see him right about to soccer kick my head. And so I grabbed the other leg, got him down, and I mounted him, and he turned around, and then I literally just choked him out. And I was still like out of it.
This is a sparring match? Yeah.
And then my brother was doing the same thing to some other guys. And at the end, they were very nice. Like, they were like, hey, man, that was great. And the next day I went to Seneca College, and this black dude was like, I always saw him. He was a big dude, right?
Yeah.
And we became friends after, but he was like, hey, man, were you that guy that fought this Winton yesterday? I go, yeah. And he was like, well, that's my master. and I'm like, oh. And then he goes, well, let's finish. He actually goes, he wanted to avenge him.
Oh my God. These guys have been watching karate movies
We were
too
doing
much.
a test. We were doing an actual written test.
Yeah.
And he kicked me in the head too.
Oh my God.
I fall to the ground. This is during an exam.
This is insane.
And the teacher was such a crazy artsy, because it was an art exam. Because
It's in the classroom.
It's in the classroom.
Wow.
She actually takes the drapes and covers the door window.
Whoa.
And goes, let's watch this.
Holy shit.
And so I was in my guard.
Cool teacher. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
she was like hot too. Like, you could tell she was like getting horny off this shit.
Yeah.
Like, and then so I was in this guy's guard, and he was like this, you're not gonna squeeze me, you're not gonna hurt me with the scissors. Like, he thought I was doing, like, you ever see the old cartoons where the wrestler scissors Bugs Bunny?
Yeah.
With his legs? He thought I was doing that, but it's a guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, what are you doing with the scissors? And then he started elbowing my face and punching, and I'm blood's all over the place.
Holy shit.
And I sneak my hands and do a gi choke. Well, it's like, he was wearing a leather jacket, a brown leather jacket, and I choked him out, and he flopped on me, and my nose was just running blood, and then I flipped him over, and everybody's like, who won? And he goes, everybody thought the other guy won.
Yeah.
But he was out cold, but I was the one that looked like a mess.
Oh, yeah.
And he got up after, because, it just takes 5-6 seconds to get up.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, cool, man, thanks. And
He knew that he lost.
yeah, but he didn't say anything. He just left. Right? And everybody thought I lost.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, this is the worst. Like, that's the sad part about jiu-jitsu.
That's a disadvantage of the style, right?
Yeah.
You don't get the glory.
You may win and you'll be safe, but, physically, it, like, when you're
It
looking
didn't
at
look
it,
as badass, did it?
No.
No.
But it was. If that was a street, I would have won and saved my life. But in front of the group of children,
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
like, and then I literally had to wipe my face and do a show in the Cine Center
Oh, shit.
within like an hour. And I was
You're doing stand-up at the time.
It was my third year. So if I started Jiu-Jitsu in 92, and I started comedy in 1997, so it was 97.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was actually booked to do Seneca College even after that day. So they're like, this guy's messed up on stage trying to make people laugh.
So that guy goes back to Cobra Kai and has to tell the sensei that he also lost, and now he feels shame. So, and that was the end of these guys.
They used to be bouncers at clubs like Phoenix nightclub and everything. And I would see them and they let me in. They're actually like so cool after, like the thing about those guys or any kind of guys that train, if you beat them, they're like, okay,
they respect you even.
I'm not mad at that. Like, cause they do really want to figure out if their shit works.
Yeah.
And if it's a street fight when people don't have anything, it's just about ego. It's not about the technique and really learning shit. They would try to fight again.
Yeah.
Or kill you. It's about the ego bruising that hurts.
But that's weird that they would do it on the street then. That's all. Or like in the classroom, the way that he came at you, I think that's kind of strange. If he wasn't an ego guy, like you couldn't just wait.
I guess he was an ego guy, but I mean, at some level he wanted to probably tell his teacher to just beat up the guy that beat you up, or
and his teacher's probably pretty hot. Maybe he's trying to impress her, right?
Maybe
Mary Kay Letourneau.
So I mean, after that, I probably had 2 or 3 fights. Maybe 10 years ago was probably the last one. Yeah, and your body does feel it. Like even right now, my body feels it. If I just don't sleep long enough.
Yeah.
It's a totally different feeling. I don't know how, these guys are fighting at 48 and 50.
Oh yeah, they got to be absolute. I mean,
or James Toney, like, how the fuck are you winning a championship belt at 50?
Yeah, that's wild.
And there's this one guy called Alistair Overeem who's been fighting
Overeem. Yeah, he's huge.
Dude, he's been fighting for 20 years. And they asked him, what is the secret for lasting long and being able to, he goes, you have to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
12 hours a day for your body to recuperate.
Yeah.
And you have to get massages. A lot of people don't know that. Bodybuilders do it a lot. They break down their fibers because they always bunk. What was it called when they get knots?
Oh, like, I'm not sure.
But you get knots whenever you get bruised or where you work out because you're tearing, right? And then you have to break up the fibers so it actually feels like your muscles don't have the soreness.
Yeah,
when you're
it'll
young,
reactivate the dead cells too, probably.
Yeah, and your body is when it's younger just regenerates fast. It doesn't do the same. I could tell for me it doesn't. It takes a longer time.
Yeah. So that's Overeem. Yeah, he has been fighting for a long time, and he's still dangerous.
Fucking dangerous.
Huge.
Yeah.
He's still kicking ass.
Is he heavyweight or what?
He's a heavyweight. He used to be skinny.
Yeah. He's definitely a heavyweight. That's the highest that you can get.
Yeah. They thought about doing super, but anything after 300, because of Brock Lesnar, he was 300.
Yeah.
So they were like, but nobody is 300. That's healthy. So they can't really do that.
Yeah. So he's definitely heavyweight because he's a monster. But that's, it's one of those things. The older you get, you definitely have to be paying attention to that conditioning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you think about Foreman too. Like he came back at 38, 10 years after Muhammad Ali beat him. And so he's like saying shit like, they're like, how the fighters compare, because he lived 2 generations. Yeah. And how the fighters now compare to how back then. He's like, well, you can't even compare how it was back then. And I was like, why? He's like, well, at my prime, I was knocked out by a guy, Muhammad Ali, who was past his prime. And nobody since my return has never knocked me out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, how hardcore were those guys?
Yeah, exactly.
You think of a guy that was past his prime, like Muhammad Ali, was knocking out the strongest person in boxing history. And nobody could do it in his later ages until 40, even past 40, nobody knocked him out.
And he was such a hard puncher, though, that, like, even without the conditioning, he, would be...
oh, yeah. You can't lose...
It's okay. We get... the dogs go a little wild here at the... Does it take him a minute to settle down? Okay, cool. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just like, I guess fighting back then was a different thing. Like, I mean, the hardcore, you think about guys that boxed in the 1800s and before that, they would lose eyes.
Oh, yeah, they were hardcore. They did then go work at the docks right after that, like Cinderella Man.
100 rounds. Well, they consider knockdown a round.
Yeah.
But they would still be knocked out 100 times.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was.
You don't have. People do not. I think we've gotten weaker as a species.
Oh yeah.
And they put in so many things to sanction it and protect it. Protect the fighter's health, which I mean, that's good, but it's also it definitely makes it a different era. It's hard to compare eras.
Yeah.
Unless, I guess Foreman could do that because he fought in both though. So
Yeah.
But and I mean he could hit hard. He was knocking guys out.
Just the wars he had. And then, did you see that podcast where Teddy Atlas was talking on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about Mike Tyson?
Yes, I did see that.
That was amazing how he says he really wasn't a great fighter. He was just better than everybody.
Yeah, because he's and his view on it isn't that it's not that Tyson couldn't. Or Tyson just never got tested that way, or he never rose up
from the test.
So he did get tested, but it was never in that moment where he was facing the adversity. He felt that Tyson would crumble in those situations, whereas he, talent wise, he'd kill everyone.
Oh yeah.
And then when he got, his chin started getting tested by guys who could weather the storm.
Yeah. And when people like Holyfield were just not they're fearless.
Yeah, Holyfield was nasty, and he was fighting. He fought some street shit against Tyson. Like he brought to Tyson with Tyson.
Yeah, because he was like, "You gonna give me elbows? I'm gonna give you headbutts."
That's right. Yeah, it was a little bit of a. I think it would have been for Tyson. That's after jail when he fought Holyfield. Did he fight him once before and once after?
No, he fought him twice.
Yeah, he fought him twice.
The first time. The second time was the ear one.
Okay, yeah.
And I think the first one, he lost. I can't remember how he lost, but he did lose the first one because I know the second one was the rematch, the ear biting.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think, just like timeline wise, but was it?
It was after jail,
and it was after Douglas too.
Yeah, because Douglas was like pre-jail.
Yeah, okay, Douglas was pre-jail.
It was his first loss.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. So Tyson, so he'd already been humbled there, but I mean, it's so hard. It's also, I think it's hard to criticize Tyson after after things got so big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have Cuss. He didn't have, his mentor anymore.
Right.
And then there's just so much going on around him. Has there ever been another boxer with that much circus around them? I mean, not even
Muhammad Ali.
Maybe Ali,
at some point.
I mean,
not with the outside fighting.
Yeah.
But the noise he made just by who he was.
Yeah, Ali definitely had that superstar pedigree and the attention. But I mean, the Tyson chaos that was going on.
It was drama.
Since then, no one's matched that.
The 80s were pretty. that was a pretty cool time. I think if you look at
amazing.
what was going on, you had Tyson coming up the ranks, and every fight was all eyes on this.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, you have to watch this guy. And then in the NHL, you had Bob Probert doing the same thing in hockey, where it becomes like this. Every game is like a title fight for this hockey fighter. People, I think they truly enjoyed violence a little bit more back then, or they suppress it now. People don't want to admit how much
no one
we
wants
enjoy
to admit it, but everyone still loves it. That's why World Star's so fucking huge right now.
Yeah. It's. I mean, we're fortunate enough that we got to watch this type of shit.
Yeah.
As it was in its heyday, when it was more accepted, overall.
Yeah, I used to have First Choice Super Channel, and that was how you rented. Any kind of boxing event. So I remember watching, Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard, and then when Tyson started coming out, my dad actually introduced me to Tyson by through watching videos. Yeah. Back when I was probably 84, 85. He's like, look at this guy. He was shorter than everybody, which he was. He was 5'11". But first round knockouts, as his first 10 or 11 fights were first round knockouts. My dad had him on videotape. Mm-hmm. And then finally we saw him go for the Trevor Burbick fight. And he won that. And we're like, okay, my dad is a hardcore boxing fan, right?
Yeah.
So he would fight all the time.
Your dad would?
Yeah, my dad was an orderly at Toronto General Western Hospital.
Yeah.
And he would come back bruised up, bloody.
He's just always banging?
he goes, some crazy guys, they come in and they have to restrain them, and they would fight.
Yeah.
And my dad was the guy that people would call if there was a fight in their parties.
Oh, shit.
There's my dad was telling me when I was a baby, one of his friends, like they always had poker, like all these Filipinos just came off the boat, so they needed money. So my dad's house was a place, his apartment where people gamble. Like every weekend, he says every weekend there was a fight and I have to throw them out with your uncles.
Yeah.
And there was one guy that took out a knife. This is like 1970.
Yeah.
And it was in like Parkdale. And he said this one guy lost maybe $300-400. And he goes, give me all the money back, I'll kill everybody in here.
Oh, shit.
And so my dad's a black belt in karate.
Yeah.
So he takes the towels from the kitchen and wraps his hands.
Yeah.
And he starts punching and he gets stabbed. Like he gets sliced. But because the
towels
there, the slice wasn't full.
Yeah.
But he still got cut.
Yeah.
But he had to like knock him out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then I go, did you call the police? I was like, no.
Dips his hands in broken glass. Okay.
Yeah. Licks the glass. Starts kicking a metal beam.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Wow. That's intense. There's a different time. Like there's some crazy shit. People were way more, quick to just take someone outside and fight too back then. Like so now,
fast.
like
so fast.
No, this is my theory. I think that there's more mass shootings and school shootings and stuff because people bottle up all that like frustration. They never get it out. You know what I mean? Instead of, they just bottle it all up and then eventually they freak out. You used to be able to just, call out a bully and say, let's fight. You get it over with.
Yeah.
But now you can't just get it over with. Everyone's been like conditioned to be afraid of that. And I think it's, there isn't that outlet.
Yeah.
Where you just, someone's being a dick, you'd be like, well, let's fucking go and, get it over with.
Well, it's also one thing too. I remember when I started boxing, this is maybe 15 years ago, and I started boxing for 3-4 years, right? Mm-hmm. Around my second year in boxing, I started getting a lot of fights. This is, I would say 15 years ago. I started, like, not a lot, but like every month I'd have a story of like, I almost fought somebody or we did have one fight and my trainer was like, I was waiting for that. I go, why? He's like, as soon as someone learns how to box or even martial arts, the way you carry yourself is a little different.
Oh yeah.
So
because you can protect yourself. So if you're walking down a street and you see a person that's intimidating, if you have no experience or never trained or you're not a natural fighter, you put your head down, you kind of avoid them because you're fearful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But once you learn how to defend yourself and you build up your testosterone level too.
Yeah.
It actually looks around and goes, who can I test my skills on?
Yeah.
And then when someone gives you the look, you look back, and either they look away or you look away.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen, then now it's this two animals fighting for territory.
Yeah.
But it's because of the testosterone level and because you also are not fearful and you also want to test yourself.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like, that in your head too, where you want to try, 'cause I learned some shit today.
Yeah. And so I remember I had this fight with this guy, and what happened was he was in some bar, and then he was like making fun of people, and you could tell he was on something. He looked at, and I was wearing just a track jacket that had Brazil on it. I just wanted to buy it. He goes, "Oh, you're Brazilian?" I go, "No, I'm Filipino." I was like, "Oh, well, maybe that's a different race or culture." I'm like, I can't wear a Nike jacket.
Yeah.
And after he was like, "You're an idiot," and he smacks my face like this.
Ooh, yeah, that's not cool.
And I was like, "What are you doing?" And I slapped him so hard. I grabbed him by the head and started kneeing him in the head. And then after they threw us outside, and then he was trying to choke me against a wall.
Yeah.
There was a corner of a wall, and he was like putting his forearm against my neck. And I was like, "Hey, this is the first day of jiu-jitsu where Hoist taught the class how to defend that."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you just put the blade of your fist or your palm on his neck, and you extend your hand because their hand is bent, their arm is bent, so it's a shorter distance."
Yeah, you can reach them now. Yeah.
And then he was choking himself, and after I pushed his arm and I side choked him in the air
because he was pushing on you. He was just choking himself. He was leaning into it.
And then eventually, when I pushed this away, then. When I pushed his elbow away from my neck, I side choked him.
Yeah.
And then he just fell to the ground. And I told my boxing coach, he's like, yeah, I was waiting. Because when you do that, your body wants to. Mm-hmm. You actually turn into an animal.
Yeah, because we're usually just rejecting our primal instinct, right? And every day, right? But yeah, when you're training, you're like you've woken that up.
Right. Yeah, because we're animals that are trying to be human.
Yeah,
they're trying to be civilized, but it's there. Mm-hmm. There's no. why are people watching fights and not stopping it in every New York subway?
That's right.
I don't see anybody on YouTube jumping in.
No, they're filming.
Yeah. Everybody wants to see it until only the cops jump in because, that's their job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's rare to see somebody going, stop this.
Yeah.
Stop this.
It's usually a woman.
5 minutes later when everyone's knocked out. All right, guys, break it up.
It's always a guy's girlfriend. You're gonna kill him.
Yeah.
This episode of Fight Stories has been brought to you by the good people over at AbsoluteNatureCBD.com, bringing you the very best in all-natural, 100% organic CBD oil and CBD oil products. There are no preservatives, additives, colorings, synthetics, or chemicals. No Botox. None of that stuff. If you use the Fight Stories promo code Goon Squad, you save 20%. You save a little bit of money, and you're giving us a bit of a kickback. That's great. Everybody wins. If you're already a CBD oil user, why not give them a shot? Hey, if the stuff you're using now is better, you go back. But I bet you it's not.
Was your dad, if you had a fight in the street, would he be like, all right, come on, get him? Or would he be like, stop it, guys?
If he saw me fight, I think he'd just stand back and chill. Like, he'd let it go. Like, when I played hockey, he was always my coach, and if I was a goalie. Right. And so, like, if someone, like, would lay the lumber on you, like, give you a slash or whatever after you covered the puck, like, I'd look at him and he'd just go, and then I'd just go to work, just start throwing blockers. So, like, he was always pretty good with me fighting. I remember the first fight I got in school, like, real fight. Probably I was like 10 years old, and I gave a guy, black eye, like, I busted this kid up pretty bad, got suspended, and I was like, oh fuck, I was so scared because my dad, he pretty gruff with me, and I come home and I tell him I got suspended, and he's like, he goes, here. He gives me an AC/DC cassette tape. He goes, go listen to this in your room. I'll talk to you. I'll deal with your mother on this. Right. But he goes, did you win? I'm like, yeah. He's like, fucking right. Like, he was happy about that.
Of course, dads would be.
Yeah.
Inside, they'd be like, at least you won.
But he asked me, he goes, did you start it? And I said, I didn't start it. And he's like, but did you win? I'm like, yeah. He goes, fucking awesome. Yeah. So he was always cool with that. Like, he didn't want me going out and starting shit. I mean,
I'd be that too as a dad. Like, if I had a kid, my brother's like that. Like, I have a nephew who just turned 9. When he was 7, my brother picked him up from school and he was quiet. He was like, well, Logan, why are you quiet? And he's like, I can't tell you. He's like, why? Because you'll be dead. He's like, what? Who told you I'd be dead? He's like, I can't tell you. He goes, Logan, you're going to be dead if you don't fucking tell me.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, it's like these 2 kids, at least once a week, bring them to the back of the school where there's no security and stuff, rocks down his throat.
Holy shit.
And they try to kill him.
Oh, that's fucked up.
This kid eventually was found out that the doctors found out he was schizophrenic, multiple personality. Mm-hmm. He was not right in the head. So, and then after he was like, "What?" He's like, and my brother has taught his son. My brother was a fighter, a street fighter a lot, but he also took Jiu Jitsu, boxing, Wing Chun. Yeah. So he a bit of Muay Thai. Mm-hmm. So my nephew has been trained since he was walking.
Yeah.
And if you hold your hand up and he punches it fully with exact like hip rotation and snap, it hurts. Yeah. And when he was 7, he can hurt you. Oh shit. But he was such a nice kid. And so my brother was like, I taught you everything. Why don't you do anything? He was like, I don't want to hurt anybody. Yeah. And he goes, and his wife goes, well, you should have called
No, there's a time.
And my brother says, no. He told his wife, look, our son, he'll be killed by the time anybody sees this because these kids are doing it at the back of the school. Mm-hmm. Because next time they do that, I don't care if the teachers kick you out of the school, if you hurt these kids to the point where they go to the hospital, you kick and punch them in the vital areas, the throat, the nose, the dick. Yeah. And he goes, okay, Daddy, I will. He gets a call 2 weeks later. It's like, your son's in the detention right now. It's like, why? He was causing trouble. He goes there. It's like, what happened? It's like, he punched this kid so hard the nose it broke. Oh, the kid's eyes are puffed up like they're sealed. Yeah. And the other guy is in the hospital because he kicked him in the nuts so hard, like he couldn't breathe.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're going to expel him. It's like, why would it happen? And Logan goes, well, they brought me to the back again and held my arms and tried to put rocks in my mouth. And I said, I'm gonna hurt you if you don't stop this. And he kicked him so hard in the balls, this guy dropped. Yeah. And these kids are 7. They're not gonna generate power.
No.
That's right.
Unless their dad taught them since they were 4.
Yeah.
You know, and these kids went to the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to expel him, and the custodian happened to videotape it.
Oh, shit.
And he didn't even stop it. He wanted to put it on YouTube.
What a fucking guy.
Yeah, but then he saw it, and they're like, oh, sorry. And my brother just lost it. He goes, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
You know, but I was so happy.
That he defended himself.
Yeah, and he didn't have his hands were as hard as rock.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, good. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Defending against a bully used to be a coming of age thing. It was where you prove yourself and you prove something to yourself and other people that, and you get a lot of space after that. And I mean, it's. How did
Marty McFly's dad get his wife? He had to punch.
He had to scrap Biff.
That would not end well if he didn't punch Biff in the face.
That's right.
And so I'm pro. Look, authorities never get there on time.
No.
They can't. It's impossible for them. You call 911, you're dead.
Yeah.
By the time they get there, you're dead. You have to defend yourself at the point, whether you have mace or you have a fucking gun or you know how to fight. Do it.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, there's no other way around it.
Oh yeah, no, my dad was always good with me, scrapping. My brother and I would always fight each other. So I mean, he got pissed off about that, but but yeah, he was always open, good for
school fights are fun. I like the after school fights.
Oh yeah, the appointment fight.
Yeah.
Meet me by the oak tree, by the bike rack.
I remember being so nervous for that. I was like, it's this guy Joe Geraci. No, it's Joe Tavares. He's like, oh, do you want to fight me? I'm going to fight you after school. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole time I can't even work. I can't even write in class. I'm like, I'm so fucking scared right now.
I feel like that would be the worst feeling because I never got in any appointment fights.
Was he in the same
grade?
class?
But he was like I was like the shot put champion before I went to like high school.
Yeah.
And then when I went to high school, I saw big ass fucking men.
Oh yeah.
That were grade 9 that had full beards, Greek, Italian, guys that are just like that. They would be strongmen.
Superhumans.
Superhumans.
Yeah.
They're just big legs. And then I don't know, something happened where me and him got an argument. Then he goes, let's fight after school.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And then after that we met after school, and I was like, yeah, we don't have to do this, man. He's like, all right. And after he told me, we became friends. I was like, yeah, I was kind of scared too.
Yeah.
But I was going to do it. I'm like, I know you're going to do it, but I was more scared because you were bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of knew, I didn't have any fighting background at grade 9, so.
In grade 9, there can be a big mismatch because some guys have hit puberty, other guys haven't. And it's just it's a weird age, right? Like where everyone's changing and stuff. But I mean, I found that I never got in any of those meet me after school type fights because I would just fucking go at the person right away, get it out of the way while you're adrenalized from the initial confrontation. Let it happen naturally. Yeah. And you know what? I was always smaller, so I just catch someone by surprise. I'm not going to take any. The first push is the first punch.
Plus, you use your anger as the adrenaline fuel.
Yeah, and then you start throwing.
Because when we got that argument, I was angry maybe 30 minutes after, and I'm like, now I was like, and I started thinking about it.
And then you get in your own head. You don't do what you naturally know.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like, fuck, I'm so scared.
Especially when you're younger too, because the first few. I mean, it probably takes 10, maybe more fights to figure out how to actually know what you're doing in a fight, as opposed to running purely on adrenaline.
Right.
Each fight you get a little bit more comfortable. But back then everyone's fighting like that. So if you have more adrenaline and more anger, you can beat that guy. Whereas opposed to if you run into a guy that's been in 100 fights and you've only been in a few, that guy's going to probably handle you on the street. But I remember when I would have been in grade 7, from grade 7 to grade 8, I think I had about 20 fights.
Yeah.
And it was just guys coming after me all the time because I was just small enough that the guys a year younger than me wanted to fight me to impress the older guys, but I started winning, and so it was it got really stressful though because you knew someone was coming at you. But I never had any appointment fight. I just go right at them right away.
Those are the fast ones. I remember RPM. Well, it's called Government now. I don't know if Government's still around.
I remember the RPM club and Government. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So after we got into an argument with some other guys in the club, and then after that,
is that beside the warehouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend had this brand new RX-7, Nissan RX-7, or I think it's Nissan or whatever. And he was driving. These guys threw a beer bottle and broke it.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, let's do this." He called all. So it was 5 of us, and we all we all chased these guys in our cars, and then we ended up in this parking lot where they had 15.
Yeah.
And we all jumped up and were like, holy shit, there's 15 of them and there's 5 of us. Right? And then it was kind of like the Warriors where like we saw a couple of friends like hanging out. We're like, hey, Mickey, Andrew, can you help us?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so we started getting, now we have 7.
No, we get 7.
And then, a couple other guys, we had maybe 9, 10.
Yeah.
There were 15. Their leader was called Scarface because he had a real scar in his face. Right? and then we're all fighting, and like 2 against 1.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're like really big Filipinos.
Yeah.
So all these other Filipinos were smaller. Mm-hmm. So we were like fighting them, and then one of my friends was a black belt in Taekwondo, and he did the Olympics too.
Yeah.
So his name was Mike, and he had 2 dragons that was tattooed on his chest. He took off his shirt. He was wearing dress pants and like really nice, what do you call it, sandals.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at him, and he takes off his shirt too, and just like at the stomach. And then he takes 2 rocks. So my friend Mike, right? My friend Mike, from grade 9 to grade 13, back we had the grade 13, when he left his house, he had to do this to practice. He had a ball that was tied up to a rope or a string in his garage, and it was the height of an average man's head.
Yeah.
5'10", and he'd do 20 kicks, spinning back kicks. And 20, whatever. Like, that's how we went to school. He did that every day, and he never got to fight until that day.
Oh,
and this guy was the exact same height, and he picked up the rocks. My friend did some back kick, knocked him out, and all of us were like, "Yeah, you did it, Mike."
That's amazing,
right? So cops came in, right? And pretty much arrested everybody, but they saw what happened. So my friends left. So that's 25 years ago, right? So I'm doing this. This guy's doing my website maybe 5 years ago, and we're talking, and we started talking about fights, and he's like, he's such a nerd. He was like, yeah, so I've been doing this, since I used to go to these clubs back in RPM. I'm like, oh yeah, and we started talking, and he's like, yeah, my friend got knocked out, this guy with the 2 dragons, and we all got arrested. After I'm like, wait, what happened to the guy with the scarf? Scarf is like, yeah, how do you know? I go, I was there, and he's like, did you have a jean jacket? I'm like, did you have a red jacket? And I'm like, we punched each other. And we're laughing. I go, what happened to Scarface?
Oh, that's so good.
He was like, he was in a coma for a month.
Oh, shit. Scarface was the guy that got roundhouse?
Yeah. And so, and then my friend had a Christmas party that month.
All that practice.
And at that part, I go, remember we fought 25 years ago, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, man, that was crazy. Right? And he goes, you know that guy that you kicked? He's like, I met his friend.
Oh, man.
That was doing my website. And he was the guy I fought. And he was like, that's crazy. Funny. And he goes, you know what happened to Scarface? I was like, what? He went in a coma for a month. My friend's like, yes! And his wife and kids are like, why are you freaking out, Dad? And he's like, nothing.
No reason.
The guy just made a tuna casserole.
That's so
He's wearing
funny.
an apron. And he's like, yeah. But he's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
But it came out.
Yeah, you brought
Yeah, I brought that side of him that he suppressed since he got married and had children.
Release the dragons.
Yeah, because he's not like that. And obviously, we're fucking 45, right?
Oh, exactly.
But
that night, he just tells his daughter a story about practicing.
Oh, that's so funny. It's amazing how that can come back around. Hey,
but he goes, tell your friend Mike, thank you, because it changed my life, because he went to jail for a year.
Oh, really?
And then when he went out of jail at 19, he went to the computer graphics.
Okay, he'd like put him on the right track. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the real Scared Straight program.
Yeah. Sometimes
actually going to jail.
Yeah.
Sometimes the language of punching is better than speaking.
Yeah.
And if you watch any jail show, it's like that. Like, fuck talk. It's not going to work. You're going to have to knock it. Because sometimes a knock in the head wakes you up and go, wait, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Some people are that stupid.
It's the only way to break through that thick skull. You know?
Because if apparently we all have Neanderthal percentage of us, like blood. Right?
Yeah.
The DNA, because of the humans won, but they still fucked them.
Yeah.
So we have it in us. You could tell do you see certain people like, that guy's a lot of that gene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
He's just stupid and strong.
Yeah.
This guy, he lifted the back of a fucking Civic. And you see those douchebags? That has to have a lot of Neanderthal.
Oh, I would
DNA.
think so. I would think so.
And the women have that too. Probably are attracted to that because like they have this innate. They're like, oh, it's a man barbarian.
Yeah, it's a breeding thing too.
Like he's gonna bang me good and get me pregnant. Well,
yeah, exactly. Now going back to the twist around on doing something, fighting a guy way back when you're younger and having it come back around. So my uncle, he was at the gas station in our hometown of Bracebridge, Ontario, and he's pumping gas one day, and he sees this huge fucking guy just eyeballing him. My uncle was probably about, I would say he was about like 5'9", like he's not a big dude or whatever. And he scrapped a bunch back in the day, like anyone that coming out of that era did.
Yeah,
right.
They're in their prime. It's the late 60s to the to the 80s. They're fighting all the time,
Right.
But he's pumping gas and he sees this guy and he goes, the guy's about 6'4", 6'5", and he's a fucking monster. And he comes up to me and he goes, "Are you Morrison?" And he goes, "Well, that depends on why you're asking." He goes,
I like how he doesn't say your first name. Like, you're so well known that he's like, "Is that
"Are you
Morrison?"
Morrison?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "That depends on why you're asking." He goes, "Well, about however many years ago, it would have been back in like the 70s, I guess." He goes, "You laid a beating on me and you knocked me out. But when you knocked me out, you folded me up and put me in a garbage can, like a steel garbage can. And the cops had to come and cut me out with the jaws of life, and I owe you a fucking ass kicking." And my uncle starts laughing at this guy. He's like, "What are you fucking laughing at?" He goes, "Well, that wasn't me. That would be my brother, Tim." And the guy's like, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid." He's like, "I'm so sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to I'm such an idiot." Oh yeah, so that you never know who can come back for payback, eh?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Did you guys ever have friendships come out of fights?
For sure.
Like anytime you'd scrap on the schoolyard and then you go to the principal's office and then you wait that 20 minutes and then it's just like, man, what would we fight
after
him?
fighting a guy become his friend? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I ever really became good friends with anyone that I fought.
But, just that camaraderie.
Afterwards, if they fought fair and you fought fair, then that's cool. Yeah, you can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've had a couple friends like that where we fought, and then after that we kind of were like friends because I don't know why. I think it was because we let it out, and then you were not mad anymore, and then you're just like, like it kind of like
you get that out of your system.
You get it out of your system, and
there's a very cathartic release on that, and then you can just kind of clear your mind and just see if
so you've had that, obviously.
Oh, many times. That's where most of my elementary school friends came from.
I thought you said that's where many of my girlfriends came from.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's
Windsor, Oulette.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's like if you fight a guy, you know that at any other time and circumstance, you guys probably would have been friends because that guy, he fought you straight up, and he's just that guy in his crew, and you're that guy in your crew. You guys are gonna have to scrap it out or whatever. But
I remember. Did you ever see teachers fight?
No, I don't.
Man.
I've never seen a teacher fight.
I saw a teacher karate chop a desk, and it broke the top, but he hit the metal, and he fucked up his hand.
Moron, Neanderthal.
You said two teachers fight each other.
No, this is what happened. Well, I never saw that. So what happened was the Greeks and Italians, my high school brother Andre, the two main guys, George K. and this other guy, I can't remember his name. They fought, and it became so serious because it was their culture versus their culture.
Yeah.
And it became like a rumble. So every Friday after school, it was always a week, they'd have more people. At one point, their families came out with garbage cans and hockey sticks, and there was maybe 100 each, 100 times 100 Greeks. And the two main fathers that were in their 30s or 40s were the head.
Yeah.
And then they had to fight. And then, Mr. Lyons and Mr. Maloney were the wrestling teachers. And Mr. Maloney was in the Tiger Cats.
Yeah.
He was a Hamilton Tiger Cat. Both these guys were 6'2", 6'4", and full muscle. And these guys were Mr. Lyons was actually a high-level wrestler.
Yeah.
Because he taught wrestling. And same with Lyons, but he was just a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to stop these two massive men from killing each other. So the principal said, everybody stay in your rooms, there's something going on outside. We just, it's emergency.
It happened at the school.
Yeah, and
so all the families came to the school.
We looked outside the classroom. We saw 100 people, 100 Greeks, 100 Italians rumbling, right?
Game of Thrones.
Yes. I don't even watch the show, right?
Yeah.
And all the kids just ran out to watch. They didn't even listen.
Oh yeah,
so
of course.
There was like maybe 1,000 people outside in a circle watching this crazy fight, and these two guys were just killing each other.
Oh wow!
Right, like it was bad. Like I remember baseball bats to the head.
Oh my God!
And then all of a sudden they're like, call Mr. Maloney and Mr. Lyons.
Yeah.
And they just started suplexing everybody and bodies. And we're like, whoa. Like, I mean, that's the first time. This is 1988. So that was the first time or 1989. It was the first time I saw wrestling in a real fight. Because we were doing the wrestling moves and I always just go, why would people wrestle anyways?
Yeah.
Like,
That's why.
Yeah. And I saw it go, oh my God, it's a real thing for street.
Oh yeah.
And I never made the connection until that day. And that really sparked my MMA before MMA was MMA.
Yeah.
So when I saw Royce Gracie and I saw people that are wrestling and the first 2-3 UFCs, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. I saw this in my schoolyard. These guys had bats and these guys were like double leg takedowning these guys and slamming them on the floor, knocking them out. And I remember they were like, they couldn't do anything to these guys because they were just like throwing them around. It was pretty crazy.
And so fast forward you go from there in 1989 and then you start training in 92, right?
92, yeah.
And is that around the first UFC?
UFC is 93. So
93.
my cousin lived across the street from the Gracie Academy and it was a small place. Nobody knew who they were, but they had this thing called the Gracie Challenge Match where you would get like 2,000, 4,000. I don't know what it was, but you put your money and they would double it if you win.
Okay.
Something like that, right? And it was actually a promotional kind of strategy
for the school.
For the school to make these videos that you could watch online called Gracie in Action. So those actual challenge matches were recorded.
Okay.
Right? And made videos called Gracie in Action. They're kind of like these original cult.
Yeah, like the tape, like VHSs that are getting circulated and traded around, right?
They sent that to Art Davey, who was the head of the SEG Sports. And they got the money to produce UFC.
Yeah.
So those tapes were the actual reason why UFC ever happened.
They're the catalyst for all of this.
Everything. The Gracies owned the UFC for the first 2 years.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And so my brother and I watched them all. And at the very end of it, we asked if we could do it. And they're like, because we're really interested in joining though. Because we said, but can we try that? And they're like, all right, shoot, they're talking Portuguese. I'm like, what are they saying? So the cameraman comes back out. They're like, oh, and I didn't know that they wanted us to be in the video. So we took off our shirts and they're like, no. This is going to look horrible. Like, you want to look like you're intimidating some, you two fat slobs. Yeah. Like a chicken chest and a gut, it's just like, and then they're like, all right, sure. And then so I just ran at Hoist.
So you're going to Hoist Gracie here for the video?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Gracie taking everyone out in all these videos. That's
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Just to clarify, because I didn't pick up on that. So you go and you're like, we want to try this, and you get to now take a run at Hoist Gracie, the legend.
Before he was known, and there's 5 brothers. I just happened to be randomly set up with him, and brother was randomly set up with another guy.
Yeah.
And then so I'm 18, so I'm like, I'm just gonna double leg takedown and punch him, I guess. Like I have no other experience.
Yeah.
So I double leg take. He let me take him. I'm like, what? And then right before I punched him, I woke up.
Oh my god!
Because he had a triangle choke on me.
Oh man!
And I remember when his legs were on me, and it smelled like baby powder. So I felt like I didn't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to hurt a baby. Like it just hit my head. I'm like, it smells like a baby. And I'm like, I gotta hit him because I didn't feel choked. I just felt comfortable. Yeah. And I went like this. I fucking woke up. I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh, I got you a choke. I go, what kind of choke? He's like, oh, the same choke your brother's getting choked. And then we joined. So we started training right, like literally that day. And Ed O'Neill was there too.
Oh, really?
So we saw Ed O'Neill's dick so many times in the change room. And it's like sick soft. Jesus. Thick.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw Gary Goodridge naked too, and he's small.
Oh, really?
and short.
He's been on the podcast, Gary.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How is his mind?
He's going through some trouble with the CTE.
You actually had him on the podcast?
Yeah.
He was serious?
Yeah. He did season 1.
How bad is his memory now? Because I know it's like a goldfish sometimes.
So sometimes, sometimes he has some trouble remembering, but then like once he gets into the stories and stuff, like he had a great episode with us. But yeah, there's he is going through some trauma there from that. So it's tough to.
Was it easy to talk to? Is it?
Yeah. He's the nicest guy, and like he was so cool and accommodating. We went to his house.
Fighter. You went to his house.
Yeah. He's got a great little
all the
great
pride
spot
stuff and the UFC pictures.
Yeah, he showed us all the his memorabilia is all framed up. It's sick, man. He told us some great stories, and you couldn't ask for a nicer guy.
Wow.
And
what an amazing person
and a legend. But he was telling us he's the first ever person that was like diagnosed with CTE, like the first person that got that like
while they're alive.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's what he was saying anyway, and so it was he's doing a lot of therapy to try and make that better.
Holy, that guy took a beating, man. Like the fact that he went to Pride, which is basically stand up or kickboxing, and didn't really have any pro record in it.
No.
He was a guy that they called the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So you just had to, because he was so exciting to watch because you liked seeing a man take punishment, and he took it until it was too much, and then he would stop. But he would knock out a couple people here, knock him out here, but he would get his ass beat to the point where he had one of the worst knockout records ever.
Yeah, he's like the way he got into it is crazy. Like him and his buddies are watching UFC on pay-per-view. It was like one of the first ones, right? Yeah. Like early on, and they're like, "Gary, you could do this." And I think he'd only had like a little bit of boxing experience. Nothing. He was just working.
He was an arm wrestler.
Yeah, he's an arm wrestler
champion in Japan.
Yes, he was doing the arm wrestling. He'd arm wrestle 1,000 guys in Japan, and just one after another, just put him over. Yeah, and he was on TV and shit for that. But like at the time, he hadn't really fought a ton. He wasn't a street fighter or any of that. He was working, I think, at the Honda. Plant in Barrie, right? And so his boys and him are all watching, like, Gary, you could fucking do this. You could beat this guy up, whatever. They start calling the 1-800 numbers on the pay-per-view, and they're just, like, trying to get through, like, patch us through to here. They get Art Davies on the phone during the pay-per-view. They're like, listen, we're here with our buddy. We think he could win in UFC. His name's Gary Goodridge. Art Davies had seen him arm wrestling in Japan.
Wow.
And he goes, Gary Goodridge. He goes, put him on the phone type thing.
That's how you get just for laughs.
Yeah.
You got to do something that's not connected to comedy.
Howie Mandel. Yeah, I'll call Howie Mandel while he's hosting the gala.
Yeah. I know this guy, which is me.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah. So anyway, they get talking. He's like, there's a place for Gary Goodridge in the UFC because he'd seen him arm wrestling. He knows that he's like a big dude, and he looks like he could handle himself, and it just went from there. Like he said, it was crazy, man. So that's episode 2 on season 1. If you guys are listening, yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
To get a legend like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he helped legitimize our podcast because he was one of the first guys to sign on for it, and he's a Canadian, and everyone respects him. Like Rogan always talks about, talked about him a couple times, right?
Come on, like, man, you got two legends.
Yeah. Ron Josol and Gary Goodridge.
Legend in comedy means that you never made it, but you're still doing it.
Yeah, well, we've definitely had some awesome caliber guys. From we had Ken Shamrock, and we just had Kyle the Monster Nelson, who's a newer UFC guy. He just fought in he's fought in 2 pay-per-views in the last year or so. Yeah. So he's an up and coming guy.
Maybe you could call us in. He's a friend of mine. I can call. Maybe he can come down here do it.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Yeah, that's the best part about this podcast is each guest unlocks someone else. Like everyone knows someone that would like fit into it. And,
Carlos Noon won the UFC title in 1999 against Pat Militek.
Okay, yeah.
Right. It's called the Bulldog Choke now. Back then they're like, what the hell is this? Because it's basically a headlock that chokes you. Mm-hmm. Right. So they call it. It's like what is this? This is a recess, high school recess. I mean, like
it's not a guillotine though. No. It's a different.
No, it's like if the person is like on all fours and you come up behind him and just
and
just choke and headlock him.
Yeah,
it's still doing the rear naked.
Yeah.
but your legs are not in his thighs. They're just on the side.
Yeah.
So we choked up Pat Militech, and then we went to this club on Portland and King, like 3 days after, because we used to train together in my basement. This was back before he was in UFC. And he's like, yo, let's go to a party. So we're all there. And this girl starts dancing up on Carlos. Carlos is dancing with a belt.
Yeah, that's always a good way to enter any club. Any club.
As soon as we
Power
walk in,
move,
they're like,
nice.
oh, Carlos won 2 days ago. So this girl's dancing up. The bouncer gets pissed and says, hey, man, stop dancing up with my girl. And Carlos is like, I didn't know it was your girl. Why don't you tell your girl to not dance up on other guys if she's really your girlfriend? Mm-hmm. And she kept doing it, and he goes, all right, we'll see what happens. People are going, that's the UFC. He's like, I don't give a fuck what the UFC is. Like, this is 1999. He doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, it's still not.
Oh yeah.
It's not mainstream.
permeating the
It's not
mainstream.
as legitimized yet.
Yeah, so he doesn't even care, right? So at the end, and he's also a doctor at this point. He just finished, I think he finished his exams and all that crap. So he was starting to actually work in the medical field.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 2 a.m, we leave, and I'm like, where's that guy? And I was like, I guess he was just talking shit. We go around the corner, the guy's there, and he punches Carl in the face.
Yeah.
And Carlos literally he's like, whoa. And then he stands up, and the guy does it again. Carlos does a flying armbar, right? Breaks his arm.
Oh, fuck.
And goes, you idiot, that's going to take you 9 months to heal. he's a doctor.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, man. And he was like, you know what? The closest thing you should call 911 and just you go to this. And it's really Costco.
Yeah.
So we leave, and he was like really upset in the car. He's just like, and he goes, we're like, so what did you feel? He was like, well, it's like, he was like, that was like slow motion to me.
Yeah.
It's like
It would
anybody in
be.
the street, it's everything. You're like, oh, well, that's telegraphed. That's
The Matrix for you, at that stage.
Yeah, he was like, it was too slow. Like, besides the sucker punch, right? And even then, he had enough to brace himself to get that initial shock.
He didn't get a full.
Yeah. But because the reaction time, like, they did some experiment with pro athletes and non-athletic people, and they're playing air hockey. Mm-hmm. The pro athletes won just because their
Reaction times was just way higher.
Way higher.
When I was playing hockey, and I was saying I was a goalie. So my last year of hockey, I actually tried to get better. And one of my things I would do every day is I take 2 Indian rubber balls and I throw them against a brick wall and catch them at the same time, just back and forth.
I used to do that with 2 Indian guys, but anyways.
I haven't seen that one. But because it hit the brick, they'd come at different angles and stuff.
Yeah.
So you'd be your reflexes would be amazing. For fighting, it was that was the fastest I'd ever been, just because of that summer of doing that.
Oh yeah.
But you could see. So yeah, guys,
it's training, and then if I love watching this. There's a lot of this. I love this. I go online, I'll put Street Fighter challenges Muay Thai instructor. Mm-hmm. There's 5 or 6 of them. Real Street Fighters. I want to fight somebody right now. And then the Muay Thai instructor just finished the whole day, and he's like, all right, well, fight me.
Yeah.
And all the other instructors are just laughing while this guy's going crazy. And then muscle guys. Yep. And after he's like, and they're laughing because he's giggling too. He's like, oh my God, this is crazy, right? And after okay, we gotta go. He's like, okay, boom, knockout.
Oh, just when he wanted to. Yeah.
And or he hits him hard enough for the guy to feel it and just change his mentality. It was like, what was that?
Yeah.
I love when
the realization.
Yeah, when everything comes to fruition and to yeah, this is not.
Yeah, I bit off more than I could chew here.
And if you go watch, because I go to Thailand every year for some shows and hookers, and if you go to most bars there have a Muay Thai ring where they for $10 you pay to fight a Muay Thai guy.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and there's a lot of drunk Americans and Australian people and UK people and some Canadians they're fat old dudes or 40 years old beer drinkers. I could be these tiny little fucking Asian dudes. And the first kick, they're whoa, no, I can't. They
jump out of the ring.
Oh, God,
They try to, but the ref goes, no. You have to.
You're in.
Yeah.
You're in there.
You're going to get your ass kicked.
You got to get your money worth.
Yeah, this tiny little 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Just 5 kicks, they're on the floor screaming.
Oh, that's so funny.
Everybody are laughing their heads off because
you go to that, don't you, Phil? You've been to those, haven't you?
Oh man, yeah, it's right after the jerk off place.
Oh man, yeah, that's so.
I love the realization.
Have you ever tried?
No, never. I'm smart.
Yeah.
I felt it. I felt. I mean, I know a couple of my friends when we were sparring, if you get a real good leg kick, you remember how Charlie horses hurt? Mm-hmm. Imagine times 20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just fall. Like, I mean, I don't have too much Muay Thai training, right? But I have to get the guy to the ground because if it's standing,
yeah,
even if I hit him,
well, your legs you can't even walk anymore. Like, how are you going to think about protecting if this is hurting so bad down here?
Oh yeah,
like that's
there's a I love this classic match. It's Igor.
Oh yeah.
What's his last name? Churchanovin? Well, he was a Pride fighter.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, and then he had these thick ass legs, right? Mm-hmm. So he had to fight this guy Ernesto Hus, was the K1 champion.
Yeah,
and they were doing a K1 fight, and this was the most brutal thing you'll ever see. He just keeps leg kicking this poor bastard.
He's like a bald guy, wasn't he? Like, yeah.
And you see this Russian guy. He's tough as nails.
And he's in Pride, right?
Yeah. And he tries to stand up, and he just keeps kicks in the leg, and he just can't move, and he's just screaming. Now, the very first time that a Muay Thai fighter went to the United States to fight an American fighter was 1981 in Vegas, right? So Rick Rufus was a national champion in America for kickboxing. And they got this guy that was not top level, but maybe mid-level Muay Thai guy to fight him. And nobody knew what Muay Thai was, but they agreed on every rule that you go allowed to leg kicks.
Yep.
You watch this and you cannot believe what happens. So Rick Rufus knocks him down maybe twice in the first round. This guy breaks his jaw. Oof. And all of a sudden, the next 2 rounds, leg kicks. Oof. And then finally, the third round, he can't get up anymore.
Yeah.
And he's trying his best. He has his heart. And this Muay Thai guy just keeps going and going. All of a sudden, 4th round, he's screaming, and they have to take him by a stretcher.
Oh, wow.
And his brother, who is his manager, goes, "This is bullshit. It's so easy to kick a leg. If we could have done that too." And it's like, "Why did you do it?" It's like, well, I don't know. It's too easy. And after he tried to do that, he went to Thailand. He lived there, Rick, and he changed his whole life because it's really hard to not condition yourself for those leg kicks and learn how to do any kind of kickboxing without leg defense and kick. That was never a part of American culture before they saw the Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah,
but it's a very classic video.
Hey guys, that was episode 1 with Ron Josol and Max Sheldrick. We're going to have episode 2 available on our Patreon as a Patreon-only episode. So if you want to hear more of Ron Josol and Max Sheldrick, also our buddy Cedric Newman, the comedian, pops in. Part 2 is going to be available exclusively on Patreon at patreon.com/fight stories. You can go over there. You can donate. We got different levels and different tiers, but all these bonus episodes are going to be available no matter what tier you choose. Thanks so much for supporting the podcast. Make sure that you comment, rate, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, iTunes, all that stuff. And keep supporting the podcast and sharing it out there. Let everyone know. The more people listen to this and the more people supporting, the more we're able to do. Thanks, guys. Fuck the art. Support the fights.